It's Don here from the board. Thanks for coming along and checking out this video. So today's video is probably going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be a couple of parts in it, and we're going to be having a look at a relatively new vendor to the keyboard scene by the name of Goblin Tech Keys. Now this video has been essentially provided by courtesy of Goblin Tech Keys, and we'll not only be looking at their website and the products that they offer, plus how you can customize your own keycap set with their services online, but we're also going to be checking out a number of key sets that have actually been made with their service. So the backstory on this is that Goblin Tech Keys reached out to me earlier this year and said, would I be interested in reviewing a keycap set that I could customize made by them? And I thought that was a really nice thing to do, but I was going to offer it as a competition, a design competition on the Australian New Zealand Discord server. Goblin Tech Keys were, really on board with that, but instead of just offering one set, they said we can do up to 5 sets instead. So I ran the competition, I got a number of entries in, and they produced it. So here we are. This is what this shaky box is. So what we're going to see today is what the quality of the keycaps are like, the print, the size, what they look like, mold and clean up underneath as well. But we're also going to run through how that process works. So I do want to say a huge thank you to Goblin Tech Keys in the first place for making this video possible. But despite the fact that this is provided by Goblin Tech Keys, everything that I say and the opinions in this video is still 100% mine alone. There's no scripts here that have been provided at all by Goblin Tech Keys, and you'll see what I think and how we work our way through the site. So let's have a look at the actual site first, what they offer, as well as their customization software. And here is their site as of today, right now. And you can see that it's one of those big features of theirs is basically customization. They do offer a range of different products. You can see, they've got kits, they've got mouse pads, they've got keycaps that other people have already created and are available through their customization system. And yeah, the typical sort of info down below that you can get hold of. What's really interesting is that when you go to your Customize Now component, you can pick different layouts, okay? And then they actually have editing software available right there on the web. With how we ran our competition, you had a choice of using a template, or you could potentially do it straight in the editor. And everything that we did went through the template. So if we have a look, it was an ANSI 75% was what was being put on offer. So you can go to the ANSI 75%. You could select the 75% like this. And you've got a choice of either using the Design Studio direct from the website, or you can download the actual template. Now you can design it, but obviously that's not something that we've done to test and see how that looks like. And what you can also see here is don't show it on social media. So you're basically saying to them, I don't want you guys to put it on your Instagram or your Facebook or anywhere else because it's my intellectual property. So the template is a AI file, which is the Adobe Illustrator file, but you can actually open it in other software packages. So for me, when I was playing around with it, I was actually using it in Inkscape. I just had to convert it from the AI to an SVG, which Inkscape was able to do that. And then on the return phase back to Goblin Tech Keys, I actually sent it to them, I think as an SVG, whereas we had ones that came through as PDFs as well. And they basically said they don't mind what kind of format it is. Obviously AI makes it a little bit easier for them, but they can work with most graphic design formats as required, so long as the actual resolution is the right level for print. Okay, so you can see you've got choices to use their website. You can use the template, or you can tell them what you want, provide them the files, and then they can do the customization. Obviously there'll be extra charges for that because they're going to have their staff do the work for you. So let's have a look at the Customize Now I think that's just going to drag me up to here. So we're going to open that up. And now I was messing with this earlier, so I don't know if it's actually remembered what I was doing last time when I played with it. No, so we've got a blank slate. So here's the current version of it, because this is actually slightly different to when we ran the competition, but it still very much works. You've got some very simplistic direct controls if you want color blocks. So what you can do is you can go, I want to deal with alphas, or I want to deal with mods, escape, space bars. So the very typical sort of simple customization. And we can go with reds, blues, yellows, whatever it is, or you can put in a particular color hex code. You can then decide whatever kind of colors that you want on some of these other accent items. Your WASD, well, let's just keep that consistent because we don't really need that to be anything else. Your number keys, let's keep that consistent. Function keys, this one's probably, so function keys 1, function keys 2. And this is kind of very typical, right, of the sets that you might see through other vendors and other sites. But now you have the ability to completely customize it and accent it however you like. And this is just a really simple editor, right? Now, if you're not happy, if you're happy with that and you want to move on to other things, you can now change the legends. So you can go with the top legends, or you can go front print, what they call the side legends. Front print's really cool. I came across that ages ago with like the Philco Ninja keycap sets, and there was very few people who were offering front print at the time. So we'll go with that. And there's some very standard layouts here. Xerte, Cortez, Colmac. So a lot of Colmac users would appreciate the fact that they don't have to go and reset that, because they can do Colmac for you straight out of the system. And then of course, if you want Windows or Mac legends as well, such as the command key. So if we go to the top, you can see down here, it actually shows it as the command. Now, is that gonna, I'm just zooming my browser as opposed to, not sure why that's not zooming properly, but I would assume you can probably see that enough that it says command. And if I switch that over to Windows, it becomes the Windows icon, right? You can switch it over to Linux for the penguin if you like. And then of course you can also, I don't know, let's go with a pink Linux penguin. So it does give you a range of customizations straight off the bat if you want something really simple. But what's really cool is you can chuck in images as well. So you can add a whole series of images and you can resize them and you can place them wherever you want. Now, I was just playing around with this earlier, and so here is some stuff that was from, I'm deconstructing stuff at my apartment since we've moved into the house. If you've been following the podcast, you know exactly what I mean. Slow progress. Okay, so we've got an image and the image is loaded. And now, if I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit quirky. I'm going to create a key set that's going to show off my arrow pullers. Keycap pullers. I don't know why I keep thinking about arrow pullers. I've been away from the archery scene for a decade, but I still think about archery pullers. Why? I don't know. I can't answer that. Actually, why am I sizing that way? I should be sizing this way. So this is really simple, right? That you can drag and drop and place. You can rotate this if you want. Like, I don't know, if I want to chuck this upside down, and then I can add another image. I got a whole bunch of these, right? So that's a different one. So you can go crazy. You're absolutely crazy if you want to. And as long as the resolution and quality of the actual picture that you're adding is sufficient for print purposes to the size of, and the scale, of course, of what you're trying to put in here, they will have no problems in theory actually printing it, okay? Now, of course, you do have to be aware and careful of the fact that there's going to be gaps, right, in between your keycaps, so you can sort of see the white lines in between, right, at the moment, Okay, so that's gonna depends on the detail and scale of what you're doing. So yeah, you can add a lot of pictures. And if you need to, you can also add the extra remarks to let them know, hey, let me know if this doesn't work or whatever, or just position it so they are the same size and locked in or whatever it is, and they'll work with you to try and get that best outcome and probably send you a proof around that. For us, when we sent our files in, they came back to us and said, hey, one of these files, the layers isn't working correctly. Can you get them to check it again? And it went back a couple of iterations before they said, yep, thumbs up, good to go, happy to print. So the communications for us was actually really smooth, worked out really well, and hopefully we'll see what that looks like when we open up the package. So, and the spacebar feature, so you can actually add in custom text, right, on the spacebar, and they can slap that on top with different sizes and different colors, of course, and different fonts. So, there's a whole bunch of standard fonts here that you can pick that can add a little bit more flair to your spacebar to just finish off that set. Maybe if you wanted to build something like this for somebody's birthday or a present, you can put their name on it or their online name tag, whatever it is, and voila, instant customization. Okay, so if you think this is really helpful for you, then of course please come along and check it out, because you'll be able to put together a custom keycap set in no time with your favorite pictures and favorite color schemes to get you going. Okay, so now let's get down to the desktop and have a look at the results that we got. Okay, so monitor off, camera on. All right, so these guys are located in Malaysia, in Malacca, in Malaysia. It came to me via DHL. I think it was 5 days was how long it took from when DHL notified me that it was coming to when it arrived in Australia for delivery. But I actually had to reschedule it because I knew I was going to be home the day that they wanted to deliver to me. So, the extra travel time on that, I really can't fault them for it. And I mean, it's DHL anyway. So there's very minimal protection on this. I can feel it. It's just straight up boxes underneath. But, depending on how they're packaged and what the boxes are like, it might not be required. And DHL in general, from my experience, are pretty good. I haven't had too many packages get absolutely destroyed compared to some other carriers that we can get here in Australia from overseas. Okay, so we got 5 boxes here that are looking pretty good. Put this away before I cut myself too badly. Hopefully not at all. I can hear the munchkins in the family are awake from their afternoon nap, so we'll probably get a little face or two peeking in, possibly. All right. Okay, here we go. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, mechanical keyboard, personalized accessories. So that's a really great theme to it. Keycaps, 80% PBT. Wow, that's really interesting. What's the other 20%? That might be a really great question if Goblin Tech Keys sees this video. Hopefully they will, and they can answer in the comments below what the other 20% is. Is it a mix of ABS? Is it some other material? Creative keycaps. There's nothing else on the sides of the box. It's pretty straightforward. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a look at the ones that are actual thematics. So 2 of these sets are actually keycap sets that have themes, and then the others are just images. All right. So, ooh, wow, that's actually really neat. So this one is a surf and sand based theme. I actually can't remember the name of this set. I do apologize, but as you can see, it is a sea and land-ish beach kind of theme So we've got some novelties here. Now this was completely produced using the template. Okay, so this wasn't done through the online package, but it was done with the template. So you can see that's actually really cool. They've managed to get all of that customization down pat to what they wanted that set to be. So they look pretty crisp at the moment. So let's get one of these out. The south indicator. Now I don't know if the camera is going to focus very well because my light setup now is slightly different, but you know what? That is looking pretty crisp for a PBT dye sub. That is, will we get a focus on it? We did get a focus slightly further back. Oh. That's pretty good. I'm really happy with how that looks, actually. The back of it's, there's a few marks there. The sprue and the print is, you can see the dye that's come through, bleeding through on the base white keycap. But, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So, we're going to get out the old calipers. These new ones now, and these are definitely 1.5. Spot on. 1.5. So these have a really good thickness to it. That one is just on 1.5. That one's just under 1.5. And that's also just under 1.5. So it's pretty close to a 1.5 thickness for that bottom row. But I'm loving the print. Like, this is a really beautiful set. So the gradient, the pass, the color change, and that shift from that darker ocean color up to that white of the wash, and then the transition across onto the green is really smooth. And that spacebar, just like, yeah, that's really clean. That is really clean. And all of these novelties, the print on it is really, really clean. I'm loving it. I actually think this is a fantastic job. Now, if we have a look around, especially on this, is there a bit of warp, or is this flat? Yeah, that's flat. There's no visible rocking on that. Now, of course, if I just put it on the box, yeah, the corners, that's really good. It's really good. Now, if we have a look just on the edges here, you'll see there's a little bit of sort of scrape marks there. That's just from cleaning of the sprues, which I think they didn't do very well. But you know what? That's on the back. If you don't have a flip spacebar, you're not going to see that, and I think that's quite acceptable. So that's the first set. It really clearly defined graphics, and I think that turned out absolutely amazing. So this is going to get sent off to the designer, and I think they're going to really love this. Absolutely will love this. Okay, so back into the box. So far so good. Very positive. Very, very positive. Alright, so that's the first set. Now here's the second set. Now you might say, why am I not fitting these onto a switch or something like that? To be honest, just having a look at these days, a lot of these sets, there's really no need to. The fitment, the molds, it's pretty down pat. So I don't feel like there's much of a need to actually test it. Alright, so this is the second one with also a really nice theme about it. This kind of not quite sure exactly what the theme is, but I think this little novelty in the escape with a lot of detail in it has come out really nice, really crisp. Ugh. The circles on the eyes, they're quite small, but they're really, really well detailed. And you can even see the fine dots, the sort of, let's see if I get the focus on this. Yeah, you can see the dots, the scar marks, the pock marks on the actual face there. well, the camera focus is struggling because unfortunately my new desk, my light setup here in the house is slightly different to how it used to be. There we go. You can just see those dots on the face. Yeah, that is really super fine detail, and that print came out really, really well. Now there is more sprue related sort of marks here. You can see there's like 4 little divots there, but look, it's on the underside, so I'm not going to be too critical of that. Once again, that side's 1.5, that side's just under 1.5, that's 1.5, and just on 1.5. So, you know, wall thickness looks good, the internal sprues look good. Yeah, very, very cool. All right, let's check out the spacebar on this one. Okay, spacebar on this one. Yeah, that's also nice and flat too. Now, do we have any edge damage like the other one? No, we don't. So this one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. So, 2 out of 2 spacebars, looking very good. What do you think these are? What do you think that is? Is that a cat? Is that a rabbit?
Bunny.
A bunny? You think that's a bunny? What do you think that is? Don't know?
No.
No idea? What about that? Don't know? Yeah, me neither. I don't know. But whatever it is, they came out really well. The color scheme's a little bit more simplistic. You've got that darker reds and then the lighter red, and then you've got that peachy color with the consistent darker red across it for the legends. So 2 out of 2, tick. Looks good. We'll be getting this one off. I think the only criticism I've got right now is these trays are a bit flimsy. They don't sit really well. Like, I get it, they do protect, but you know, they don't nest in, they don't lock, but they do keep the keycaps in place. I will give it that. Unlike, say, the GMK packaging, the new GMK packaging is really poor. From my experience when I got Firefly, that keycaps were just, you know, held in with shrink wrap, effectively. Okay, so we're going to leave that one till last. The next one, blue. Now this one, the image that was actually used for this was generated by AI. Now this one didn't come out very well by the looks of it.
What was it?
What was it?
What was the picture?
What was the picture? Well, this was meant to be a dolphin. You can kind of see it far away.
That's the fin.
Yeah, that's the fin of the dolphin. So this one was called Flips. So it was an AI generated, and there's the bottom fin there. So when I was talking about, you know, putting images onto the editor and the spaces in between, I think something like this probably is a little bit harder because, you know, it gets lost in there. If you had like a white plate maybe, or a dark plate, once this is actually fitted onto the keyboard, it might stick out a bit more. So look, there's not a lot of detail because the AI rendering of this is quite fuzzy in general. I don't have the reference picture for it, but you know, you can see it if you know what you're looking for. All right, so one criticism on this one is that the back of this keycap is actually quite warped. You can see it's got that bend across it. It's not straight across compared to some of the other ones that we've seen so far. So that's just something to watch out for. Thickness looks good. Over 1.5. Interesting. Under 1.5. Under 1.5, actually. Quite a little bit under 1.5. And just on 1.5. That one's upside down. Okay. And then, any damage on the front? No. None on the back. Is it? Oh, is this one flat? Yeah, this one's flat, so that's okay. I think what is happening here and what is being lost is because this was an image and it was applied on, the wrapping of the image around the keycap is what's causing it to lose some of that fidelity of the image. So when you see that, right, on top, like where it sits, there should be that black in between. And then of course there's going to be, you know, something lost in the gap. So yeah, that is definitely something that you need to consider, is that you will get wrapping of your image slightly on the actual keycap set. Yeah, interesting. But you know what? I can't really fault it. So, you know, as far as that goes, it is distinctly recognizable as a dolphin, as done by AI. And well, the community generally hates flippers, so we'll see if they hate this one or not. Yeah, you don't understand that. Now, miss, you need to go and have some water. She's been unwell and yeah, she's just come out of her room from a nap. All right. Last two sets. So this one will be really interesting. So this is a photograph of a painting. And this one's been... Oops. See, look at that. I just pulled that top one out, but the bottom one is still there and completely unprotected. Doesn't come out with it together. So I think if there's something to improve with this, it would be to improve the trays in some way. Yeah, so this one's really interesting because this is actually taken from
Mummy's drawing?
Mummy's painting. Yeah, so this is actually from a picture of a tiger that my wife actually painted, like watercolored, painted with reasonable resolution, and it's completely lost. Like, you wouldn't be able to recognize this by looking at it, even if you put it onto a keyboard, I don't think. So the eyes are here. That's the center, and that's the pupils of the eyes, and then you've got the rings of the fur, and the nose is hanging around somewhere there. So yeah, what I would say is the quality of the print is fine for what it is, okay? For the quality of the image of going in. Now, if you have a look at this keycap, the warp on the top, on the escape there, is not as bad as the one previous on the Dolphin, okay? So we'll just run the same check again on the size. So that one is just under 1.5. That one's on 1.5. That one's just under 1.5. And that one's just on 1.5. So they're pretty consistent. I would say that the quality of the cap is fine. The quality of the printing is fine. There's no issue with the printing. It's just that how it's going to display if you use a picture as opposed to a specific design set like the beige theme, as well as that other one that we saw. So I think this one's going to look a little bit weird once it goes onto a keyboard, if it goes on a keyboard. But we'll see what happens on that. Hey. Didn't even put it back in the right way, mate. Okay, and the last one, what are you, just leave it, mate. The last one is one that I did for myself, which was our YouTube channel logo. So this one's going to be really interesting because this one's 100% a digital image as well, similar to the AI, but the motifs are a little bit more straightforwards. And wow, So that one has been completely chopped up as well. So that one's probably a little bit more recognizable the further you are from it, but the closer up you are, it's a bit harder to see. If you're familiar with our banner, right, you'll know that that's the microphone, that's the keyboard at the angle, and then there's the YouTube Play symbol there. So, you know, I think once it actually sits on a keyboard, it'll be a bit tighter. The gaps in between the rows here are probably a bit bigger than a normal keyboard would have. But the lines are crisp. You know, I'm very happy with the actual quality of the print. The bleeds, not too bad at all. Not really too much of an issue. On some of this, where there is a white and a dark color, there's a slight amount of fuzz there. But compared to, say, like the novelties where the legends are black, the black is actually really crisp. So I think when it's against a white background, there's a little bit more of a bleed compared to if it's a different color, and that bleed is not as noticeable. The color gradient, as I talked about earlier, is actually, it's really well represented because we've actually got 3 different tones here on the spacebar, and you can see them very distinctly, right? Those 3 tones there are represented really, really neatly, really, really well. So in terms of damage, no issues here. In terms of warp, that is really flat, so that's fantastic. They definitely didn't overheat these when they printed them. And this one's got a little bit of bowing, not as bad as on the Dolphin set. And if we just check the thickness, so that one's on 1.5. That one is on 1.5. That one's under 1.5. And that one's under 1.5. But more than acceptable. So, well, that was unintentional. It's almost like playing a puzzle at this point in time, because if you aren't familiar with putting these back together, I'll tell you what.
Like a puzzle.
It is like a puzzle. If you had this happen on that Tiger set, that would be challenging to try and put back together, because then you'd be like, what on earth is that one going on? Woo. Suppose that's one thing that you could do. Hey, you could make a puzzle set out of these deliberately, and then
Make a puzzle.
a puzzle keycap.
A puzzle of the picture, and then you can make it like keycap puzzle.
Keycap puzzles, yeah. I'm sure that would drive some people absolutely batty to try and complete it, because it would be very hard. Can you not, please? Alright. Now, that one must be in that position there. Got to be very careful with these. Obviously, if you just bump it like I did and they all go flying, then yeah, the cohesion there might be a little bit challenging to get back together, depending on what you've got in your set. Alright, so there we have it. There is 5 sets out of the Goblin Tech Keys custom PBT die sub process. I think if you spend the time and effort and you put in onto the template, and you've got, you know, heaps of detail and novelties that you want to work on, like that the beach set, like this one.
I didn't see that one.
I know you didn't see that one. Then you definitely can get some really amazing results.
It's like a rainbow.
It's nothing like a rainbow, miss. But I mean that, I think,
Colors.
yes, the colors. I think that is really a fantastic set that's been put together. And I'm sure the owner of this set is going to absolutely love it when I get hold of them to send it off to them. All right, well, I want to say thank you very much to the team at Goblin Tech Keys for making this video happen, and being able to demonstrate that they can definitely produce some really nice quality keycaps. I would say for something to improve would be maybe the packaging and these trays, a little bit on the flimsy side, but these days if you're serious in the hobby and you're going to have a number of keycap sets, it's not unheard of that you're going to go out and buy a keycap tray set like the JTK ones, for example. They're pretty nice to store keycaps in. Whereas if you're a little bit more of a casual collector or just getting into the hobby, your keycap sets are going to sit on the keyboard anyway. So it's not that much of a deal breaker. It's just something to think about. In terms of turnaround time, it was about a week for them to actually print it and then have it ready for shipping. And then, as I said, through DHL, that was pretty quick. So yeah, no complaints from me about that. Do please go and check out Goblin Tech Keys and what they can offer for you and the other products that they've got available. And what they've given me also to share with you is that there is a discount code available. Let me actually, I have to go and have a look at what it is. I need to turn this off so I can actually log in to my email without showing my password.
Otherwise it will be
easy
for them to get into your password.
Yes, it is. So the discount code for 10% off anything on their site is The Board. Just one word, THEBOARD. Now, of course, I'll pop that into the video description below. So, if you do like what you see from Goblin Tech Keys, and you want to take advantage of that code, please make use of it. I don't believe I'm going to get anything from it. I didn't ask them to get anything from it, so I don't have an affiliate link or anything of that nature. Just chuck in that code and see what you get. All right, so that's it. Thanks very much for coming along and checking out this video. I hope you liked it. Please hit that like, subscribe, bell button, the usual drill. More exposure, better for Goblin Tech Keys, better for me, and maybe other companies might reach out and see if I can help them along with their journey too. That's it. Thanks very much. And of course, until next time,
Happy clacking.
happy clacking.